What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And today I want to talk about the reason I'm getting gastric bypass surgery. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out to a fellow YouTuber by the name of Obese to Beast. He is very inspirational, having lost 170 pounds without surgery. He made this video that you're going to see here on the screen. And if you want to click on the link in the description box or the little eye in the top right corner, I will link to that video. Know that that video is very heartwarming and very cool. It's also what inspired me to make this video today. Now, if you've not been watching videos on this topic, you may not know that I'm currently 1 week into the liquid diet for this gastric bypass surgery, the pre-op surgery, and I'm 1 week away from the surgery. So starting the second week of the liquid pre-op. And to be honest with you, the liquid pre-op diet has been very, very useful for me. I've been eating between 800 to 1,000 calories a day. And as a result, I've dropped about 24 pounds, majority of which is water weight. And when I talk about this leads a lot of people to wondering whether or not I need to get gastric bypass surgery at all, or if I could just continue doing this liquid diet to continue to lose the weight. And I'll tell you, I think I do definitely still want to get the surgery. Now, having done this exact same diet last year for about 30 days, I can tell you that I tend to, whenever I crash diet like this, I will lose 40 or 50 pounds, and I'll lose it relatively rapidly, which is about 10% of my body weight for the record. And then right at the end of that, I will tend to crash and burn, hit a plateau, and I will stay there for months at a time. And here's the thing, when I hit that plateau, I almost always gave up. I got frustrated after a month, maybe sometimes 2 months, I would just give in. But I think we all agree that if I were to continue after that plateau to start reintroducing very healthy foods to my diet, avoiding unhealthy foods, watching what I ate, make sure I stay within calorie goals, protein goals, and things along that lines, I probably could, and I probably still could, lose the weight without surgery. And you know what? I think if my only goal for bariatric surgery was to lose weight, then that's probably how I would choose to do it. I'm very afraid of the surgery. I'm very afraid of the outcome. I'm very afraid of making a drastic change for the rest of my life. So obviously the most logical, sensical, specifically with me having an anxiety disorder, the most logical, sensical thing to do would to just be do that if all I wanted to do is lose weight. But that is not why I'm getting bariatric surgery. That's a side effect of getting bariatric surgery for me. When I got my first consultation with my bariatric surgeon, he asked me, Boogie, why do you want to get weight loss surgery? And the answer immediately came to mind, dude, I just don't want to die. I want to live. So the main reason I'm getting bariatric surgery is not quality of life. I'm not that worried about the quality of life improvement. I'm worried about the quantity of life. I want to live longer. I don't want to die at 45. And during moments of weakness in the past, when I've made videos, I've talked about how I hate being fat. But it has nothing to do with the actual fat. When I look at my big fat hands or my big fat face or the fat on my body, I'm not disgusted by it. It doesn't bother me. I'm just another person to me. I'm just me. When I look in a mirror or I look at the camera like I am right now, all I see is me. I don't see a fat, obese, disgusting person. I just see me. And I think that's largely because I've always been the fat kid. On the right side of the screen, you're going to see me back in 1996. And then over on the left hand of the screen, you're going to see me back in 1986. And for reference, here's me doing that same stupid pose in modern day. But my physical self, this is who I've always been, and I've never really hated myself. I think that's one of the reasons I've always failed at so many different diets in the past. I do not hate who and what I am. I do hate the mental self, though. I hate the anxiety, I hate the depression, I hate my mental landscape quite a bit. But physically, I've never hated myself. And no matter how hard I get cyberbullied, no matter how people torture me, no matter how disgusted they are with me, it's never really affected me in that front. I've always just been kind of okay with it. That is to say, except for a few moments of weakness, some of which have been caught on video, and I attribute that more to the problems up here than the problems down here. So I think we've established that my reason for getting bariatric surgery is not necessarily losing weight, but losing weight is the path to get the things that I do want to achieve. And I think we have established that I do want to live longer, but here's the thing. Here's how this surgery can help me live longer. Currently, I am diabetic. And because I'm diabetic, I'm not currently using insulin yet, but that's just right around the corner. Currently, we're in the phase of diabetes where I can control it through medication. So every day I do take a shot to the stomach, but all I'm taking right now currently is a medicine that helps me keep my blood sugar into a relatively safe range. But even in that safe range, my body is currently being damaged, my organs are being damaged, my metabolism is being screwed up by diabetes. And gastric bypass, bariatric surgery in general, can help reverse diabetes, but specifically gastric bypass, 67% of the people that get that surgery will completely reverse their diabetes altogether. But now here's the thing. For those of you who are diabetic, type 2 diabetic like me, and are at the current stage that I'm at, it is still possible to reverse your diabetes with diet, exercise, and weight loss. And that's what bariatric surgery is going to help me do. A part of bariatric surgery recovery is changing everything you eat, changing everything you do, and making sure you get that weight off of you. So this is just a means to an end that you could probably do without surgery, but it is a tool that's going to make that a little bit easier. Another thing that's going on with my body is my doctor thinks I might have a pituitary tumor, a tumor on my pituitary gland. The problem is I'm currently too big to fit into an MRI machine, and that's a big problem because an MRI machine is a very useful tool for knowing what's going on in the body. Likewise with my lower back. They want to put me in an MRI to see whether or not my lower back, how it's damaged and what's damaged about it. Unfortunately, they just can't do that right now. I'm too big. And that's not the only thing that my current size keeps me from doing. The closest hospital to where I live has a weight limit for their OR room of 500 pounds. If you're over 500 pounds, they simply cannot and will not operate on you. They will send you to someone else. And that extra time could mean life or death. Also, in this previous video, I show off my nasty misshapen feet and legs. They're misshapen because of a condition called lymphedema, and unless it's in stage 3 or stage 4, this condition is also reversible. I should be able to reverse the vast majority of the swelling and issues by losing weight and through the surgery. And if you never did choose to watch that video, lymphedema is one of the reasons I find it so difficult to exercise. It's so difficult to walk because my wet legs weigh so incredibly much, and because they're misshapen and they're very, very tender all the time, I find it very, very difficult to get around and move with that condition. And I'm actually one of the fortunate ones. Some of the people who get that condition, they get it into their thighs, they get it throughout their entire legs. Their legs can weigh dozens of pounds. Some legs can weigh up to 100 pounds between the two of them, or 100 pounds each. I got very, very lucky in that I've done everything I needed to do to control it, to get it to a point where it still might be reversible. So I've been very lucky there. And then beyond those bigger issues, I do have a ton of minor issues at this point. You know, I've got the chronic joint pain, the chronic back pain, and we do genuinely believe I've destroyed that back. It may never be recovered no matter how skinny I get. But then you've got the sleep apnea, and you just got all of the other minor annoyances, some of which I don't even recognize anymore because I've lived an entire life with them, that I hope to get rid of and know what it's like to be comfortable in my own body and to not be in pain and not to be sick. And that gives me an opportunity to once again talk to the people out there who believe there's such a thing as health at any size. Here's the thing. I do believe you can be healthy at any size for a very short period of time, but eventually the bill does come due. And for me, I'm one of the lucky ones because, you know, all of the little payments that I've had to make are little micro payments. A little chronic pain here, a little sleep apnea there, a little diabetes here, a little bit of lymphedema there. But for some people, the bill all comes due at once, and it takes the form of a stroke or a heart attack that kills them, or in my opinion, worse, a stroke or a heart attack that disables them and ruins them for the rest of their lives, making the quality of their life to be very, very poor. That can be much worse in some cases. And I think with the diet and exercise that comes with the surgery, and the surgery as a tool, I will hopefully be able to avoid having to pay this bill in full for another 15 to 20 years. The damage is already done to my body, and I will die early because of what I've already done. But the hopes is I will die later than I would without the surgery, without the lifestyle changes that come with that surgery. Personally, I'm hoping to make it to 67, which is only 24 more years from now. And that's kind of scary when you think about it. But if I do that, I'll actually have outlived and lived longer than both my mother or my father did. Alternatively, in a best case scenario, I'll live long enough to have like flying cars and the first virtual reality MMORPG, and then maybe even sex robots. But again, all of these things are just products of losing weight, and I probably can lose weight without this surgery. So let's talk about the things that the surgery provides exclusively that you can only get through gastric bypass. The first thing the surgery can do that I can't do on my own is turning some of my favorite foods into actual enemies of my body. Things like a greasy slice of pizza or a fatty piece of pork, things that I would normally love to consume, it will actually be very painful and disgusting for me to digest in the first year, as is common for most people due to a situation called dumping syndrome. My body will not be able to tolerate those things. My stomach will not be able to process those things. And because of that, I will become violently ill. I will get sick. I will feel nauseous. I will almost pass out. I will be flushed. I will feel miserable. So it will turn my favorite foods into enemies, which means I am guaranteed to avoid those foods. Secondly, this surgery gives me an opportunity to reinvent my relationship with food. Because not only will the foods that I just described, the fatty stuff, the stuff I normally eat, the high fat, high carb stuff, not only will it be an enemy to my body, but my body will actually begin to crave nutritious foods during this portion of my life. That piece of fruit that I would normally have given up in favor of a candy bar, I can't eat the candy bar, but I can eat the piece of fruit. The vegetables there that I crave to have solid foods in my stomach, the beans, the nuts, the legumes, and the lean meats, all of that stuff is stuff that I will then crave. Everyone I've talked to who've gotten this surgery has said their tastes have completely reset, that they no longer crave those nasty foods. They crave the healthier foods instead. And that's only for the first year. After the first year, it's up to me. But having 1 year of having that voice in my head that constantly craves carbohydrates, that constantly craves fats, that even when I'm eating will demand more of it, to finally have this asshole shut up for about a year so that I can concentrate on my health, sounds wonderful. And there are some people that'll say, Boogie, I think it's really sad and weak that you weren't able to do that without the surgery. And you know what? I agree with them. My doctor doesn't agree. My therapist doesn't agree. My wife doesn't agree. But I personally agree. I think it is very sad. And I think it does show a sign of weakness that I wasn't able to push through that and do that on my own, to be able to ignore that voice in my head my entire life. But thank God for people like me. This surgery is an option that can give us that extra push. And then finally, and I know this is going to be a little bit controversial, so I stuck it all the way to the end of the video in the hopes that the people who would not want to see this will not see it. But there is an opportunity here for a metabolic reset that I do believe my body desperately needs. My endocrinologist believes, my surgeon believes, my nutritionist believes, my general practitioner believes, all of the doctors involved believe that this surgery can provide a metabolic reset. And most surgeons who do this surgery believe that. And while they do still believe that the bulk of the issue is calories in versus calories out, it's not always that simple, is what they believe and I believe. They say, a lot of people treat it as arithmetic, where it's more like calculus, and a lot of the other factors that a lot of people don't consider here can be corrected through this surgery. You don't have to believe that. Just know that I do and my doctors do as well. And that's pretty much it. That's why I'm willing to roll the dice. That's why I'm willing to risk my life for the surgery, and I'm willing to change myself for permanent for the rest of my life, and I'm willing to roll the dice to see whether or not it works out for the best, because I know that it will. I've read that it will. I've been told that it will, and I genuinely go into the surgery knowing that I think it is the right decision for someone in my situation. It may not be right for you. It's probably not right for everybody, but it's definitely right for me. There's a lot of other little small things that I could not possibly fit into all one video. I do want to walk through the conventions that I go through instead of having to ride that little stupid cart, or go to Walmart at night and not have to ride one of those stupid Mart carts. And, I'd like to be able to have skinny people sex. I'd like to be able to take my wife on the honeymoon that we never got to take because there was very few places we could go and actually do anything and enjoy the world around us. I want to enjoy the world around us. I want to create better and more interesting videos for you. There's so many smaller things that this weight loss will be able to provide, but that's the thing. It's not about the weight loss. It's not about vanity. It's not about looking better in the mirror. It's just about living longer and living a better life. And that's all I care about. And I hope that's reasonable to you. I hope that makes sense to you. And I hope it's inspiring to you in some way. I hope that maybe you can think the same way. And I'll leave you with that, guys. Let me know what you thought about this video. If you did like it, drop a like on it. If you've never subscribed, hit subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of the club here. As always, thanks for watching. I love you very much, and I'll speak with you again soon. And I'm sorry, this video went way longer than I thought it would, and I didn't even fit in everything I wanted to. I tried.